Hey, this is the best money management technique that we've ever worked with, and I've used this with my own kids as an adult and in our businesses. So here goes. We're gonna start with kids. Anytime my kids would get any money, I would ask them to divide the money between saving and spending. So saving and spending. And when they were younger, it was 80-20. Unfortunately, I only held that for a small period of time, the 80% and the 20%. And then I went to a 50-50 split. So here's how it would work. If they had a birthday and they were lucky enough to get $20, $50, even $100, I would ask them to take 50% of the money and put it into the savings jar. So they literally would have a jar or a box in their room that said savings on it, had a label on it, savings. They would take 50% and they would put it in the savings jar. And then they would take the other 50% and they would put it in the spending jar. And again, I kind of wish I stayed with the 80-20 split for longer, 80% in savings and 20% in spending. But I started when they were a little bit older and I quickly went to the 50-50 split. But I've been able to hold that with them. My son is now turning, he's probably not gonna want me sharing this, but he's turning 21. He still is doing a 50-50 split. So the savings gets 50% of any money that comes into their hands, and then the spending gets 50%. And then here's how it works. After they have accumulated enough in the savings account to be somewhat, meaningful, we would go to the bank and open up a bank account, and then at the bank, we would relabel that account on online banking savings, and we would open a second bank account spending. And now they could use the jars at home for their money management, or they could transfer some of the money that they had in their jars into the bank. And then they could use a debit card for their spending money. So that was the money management technique I used with the kids that really kind of taught them how to manage all incoming money that they always had to save first. And then if they wanted to save for something outside of, buying a bit of candy or maybe, a smaller toy that really was gonna require some time and effort to save for example, like a bike or a laptop or even a car, what I would do is I would say, okay, from your spending money, let's get some other jars or other boxes and label those for what you want to save for. And from your spending money and your spending money only, because your saving money is long-term freedom money and savings that can never be touched, take any money you want from this jar and distribute it into these other accounts to save, these other jars to save for those future purchases. My daughter did that for a laptop. Where's the laptop jar? For a laptop. It took her, I think, just over a year to save up for a laptop. She bought that laptop herself. She still talks about how she managed her money to be able to do that at a really young age. She did that herself and was really proud of, she was proud of herself. And I feel like she understood the concept of money management really early, and they still do. My daughter's now 17. My son, as I mentioned, is 21, and they're still using some version of this strategy. They're now just using it with bank accounts. I think my daughter still has some boxes and jars where she's still managing it like this. So that's how we've done it for kids. And one other interesting thing to share is that my son, as he's moving on from kind of like maybe using jars to do this, he's really trying to keep his savings amount as high as possible for as long as possible, because what I've explained, as soon as you reduce this, so maybe his next move will be reducing this not from a 50-50 split, but to like a 40-60 or a 30-70, that as soon as you reduce this down, you're never gonna go back up. So you want to hold this as high as possible for as long as possible. This is your freedom money. This is your financial future money. And that is the jar money management technique for kids.